She said she was alone. That was the first thing she ever told me when I asked about her family. Just me, she smiled. No husband, no children. I nodded like it didn't matter, but I think deep down, I needed it to be true. I needed her to need me. I moved to Chiang Mai thinking I was buying peace, maybe love. I didn't expect much. Just someone to talk to, eat with, maybe hold hands with when the days felt long. She gave me all that. Giggled when I said I liked her laugh, held my arm like it belonged to her, called me husband on day 3. I laughed it off, thought it was a joke. But I liked how it sounded. I liked being called something again, something that wasn't just a foreigner or an old man with shaky hands. For a while, things felt good. Too good. One night, she made me ginger tea and said she had to run out to check on her aunt. She kissed my forehead, told me not to wait up. I didn't. I dozed off with the TV playing some Thai drama I didn't understand, but around midnight I heard it. A sound that didn't fit. A baby crying. Faint, then louder. I thought it was coming from the next apartment, but I pressed my ear to the wall and heard nothing. I walked to the door, still crying. Not from outside, from inside. It was close, too close. I followed the sound down the short hallway, past the kitchen and stopped outside the bedroom she always kept locked. The crying was coming from there. My chest got tight. I knocked. No answer. I didn't open it. I didn't know what I'd find. But that sound, it's burned into my brain. A soft wail broken up by shallow hiccups. A baby no older than 2. I stood there frozen for what felt like an hour. When she came back the next morning, I didn't mention it. She didn't either. She handed me sticky rice and smiled like nothing had happened. But something had. Something shifted in me. I still hear that sound sometimes when I close my eyes. That soft, lonely cry echoing through the silence. It wasn't the neighbor's kid. It wasn't a passing moment. It was hers. And that's when everything changed. She rolled over, pulled the sheet up to her chest, and whispered, "You're my husband now." Her voice was low, playful, but something in the way she said it made my chest tighten. It was the 3rd morning I'd woken up beside her, and already it felt like I'd known her longer than some people back home. I laughed quietly and said, "That fast, huh?" She kissed my shoulder and nodded like it wasn't a joke. "You take care of me, I take care of you, husband and wife." I didn't argue. I didn't want to. Lying there in that high-rise apartment, with the sun bleeding through the curtains and her head tucked into the crook of my neck, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Wanted. "You want coffee, baby?" she asked, sliding out of bed. I watched her walk to the kitchen wearing nothing but my t-shirt. She hummed to herself while the kettle boiled. "You like Thai, lady?" she called out. "I think I do," I said. She giggled. "Only think?" I leaned on one elbow and smiled. "No, I do. I really do." She brought me coffee in a chipped mug and sat cross-legged beside me. "If you be good," she said, brushing my cheek with her fingers. "I cook for you every day, even when you old." I smiled, but the word stuck in my throat. Even when. Like she didn't see me as already there. "You don't think I'm already old?" She shook her head. "You strong. You walk faster than my uncle." I chuckled. But part of me knew she was saying it to be kind. "You don't have a boyfriend?" I asked, even though I hated how insecure I sounded. "No," she said quickly, brushing it off. "Too busy. Before I meet you, just work, go home. My friends say I too boring." "And now?" I asked. She smiled and kissed me. "Now I have husband. Not boring anymore." I let the word sink. In husband. It scared me how much I liked hearing it, how easy it was to let her say it. She cooked omelets that morning, not the kind I was used to. Fish sauce, chilies, something green I couldn't name. "Eat," she said, sliding the plate toward me. "You need energy." "For what?" I asked, smirking. She raised her eyebrows. "You forget last night already?" I blushed and shook my head. "You're something else," she winked. "I'm your wife." The joke wasn't a joke anymore. I didn't correct her. I didn't slow things down. Instead, I found myself asking if she wanted to go shopping later. "You need new shoes," I said. "These ones are falling apart." She lit up. "Really?" "Yeah. Let's go after breakfast. She jumped up and hugged me. You so sweet, I lucky. No, I thought. I'm the lucky one. I didn't know what I expected when I came to Chiang Mai, maybe peace, maybe escape. I definitely didn't expect this. Her. The way she laughed at my stupid jokes, the way she touched me like I was still someone worth touching. I'd convinced myself that part of my life was over. Love, touch, intimacy. But here she was, making me believe again. After the mall, we stopped by a food stall. She ordered for me in Thai, then turned and said, "You trust me, right?" "I think I do," I said. She nudged me. "Think too much. Just feel." "That's dangerous," I said. She laughed. "Danger can be fun." That night she curled up beside me again, running her fingers over my chest. "Why you come here alone?" she asked. I paused. Too much noise back home. Too many memories. I just wanted to feel something different. "And now?" she asked. "Now," I whispered. "I don't want to leave." She didn't say anything after that, just kissed me and closed her eyes. I stared at the ceiling and tried to slow my heartbeat. She made it hard to breathe, in the best way. Maybe I was a fool. Maybe I was moving too fast. But when she looked at me, touched me, called me hers, I didn't care. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like a visitor in my own life. I felt chosen. And that was enough to keep me from asking the questions I should have asked. Like why she never let me see her phone. Or why she always locked one drawer in the dresser. Or how someone who claimed to be alone could smile so confidently whenever I mentioned the future. But I didn't ask. Because part of me didn't want the answers. I just wanted to stay in that room, in that bed, in that feeling, where I wasn't old or broken or alone. I was hers, and that was all I needed. I met her outside a clinic of all places. I was waiting for my follow-up, routine blood pressure. Nothing major. And this German tourist next to me was losing his mind because no one could understand him. He kept repeating the word infection and showing his phone to every nurse in the lobby. That's when she stepped in. She walked over, spoke a few soft words in Thai, calmed everyone down, then turned to me and said, "Some tourists forget to breathe." I smiled. "You work here?" She shook her head. "No. I wait for someone. But I help when I can." We talked for 5 minutes, maybe less. But when she handed me her number and said, "If you ever need a guide or just a friend," something in me shifted. I didn't feel like a tourist anymore. I felt noticed. I waited 2 days before I called her. I told myself I didn't need anyone. But I did. I just didn't want to admit it. "You still want guide?" she asked. "Maybe," I said, "but mostly I want dinner," she laughed. "Same price?" I chuckled. "Maybe more if the food's good." Our first meal was quiet. She didn't look at her phone once. She asked about my scar, the one just below my collarbone. I told her about the surgery, about the ticker they replaced in Dallas, and the warning they gave me about slowing down. She nodded like she understood. "You're not slow, just tired." I think that's the moment I started falling. She didn't flinch at my age. She didn't make me feel like I had to pretend. After dinner, I offered her money. "No," she said. "Next time you pay. This time I want to eat with you." I stared at the bills in my hand, then slowly tucked them away. "Okay," I whispered. "Next time." There was a next time. Then a third. Then a night where she asked if she could stay over because it was raining and her Grab app wasn't working. "I don't want you to be alone tonight," she said. We didn't sleep much. The next morning she made tea and said, "You dream loud." "Sorry," I said, half laughing. "War?" "No, just memories." "Same, she replied. I watched her stir sugar into her cup, and I felt like I was in someone else's life. A better one, a younger one. "Do you ever feel like starting over?" I asked. She looked at me for a second. "Yes, every day." I didn't ask what she meant. I didn't want to ruin the quiet. By the end of the week, I offered to help with her rent. She didn't ask, but she didn't say no either. "Only if you want," she said. "I'm okay. Just sometimes stress." "I want to," I told her. "You're here a lot." "It makes sense." "Then okay, thank you, baby." She kissed me, then kissed me again. Later that night, as she brushed my hair with slow, delicate strokes, she whispered, "You spoil me." "Do I?" I asked. "A little, but I like." Her fingers moved gently behind my ear. "You different." "From who?" I asked. "Everyone." That should have made me feel special. Instead, it made my chest tighten. I didn't ask her about the others. I didn't ask where she stayed before, or who paid the rent then. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. I just didn't want to know. One evening she brought groceries, fish, fruit, a bag of sticky rice. "You hungry?" she asked. "Always." "Good," she said. "You eat. I make you strong." As she cooked, I stood behind her and watched. "Do you think about the future?" I asked. She didn't turn. "Sometimes." "With me?" She paused for half a second. "Maybe." That maybe echoed in my head for days. I told myself she was being cautious, not avoiding the truth. She was careful with affection, but also casual. She'd hold my hand one minute, then ask me to top up her phone credit the next. "Not much," she'd say, "just a little." I gave her what she needed, or what she asked for. I couldn't tell the difference anymore. One night, she sat beside me on the balcony and rested her head on my shoulder. "Do you like it here?" "With you, yeah." "No, I mean Thailand. It's growing on me," I said. "Chiang Mai feels lighter." She smiled. "You feel heavy." "I did, back home." "Then stay," she said. "You stay, I take care." I wrapped my arm around her and said, "You already do." She looked up at me and whispered, "Good, because you feel like home now." That should have made me feel safe. Instead, I felt something twist in my stomach. I wanted it all to be true. I needed it to be true. So I let her hold me, and I told myself the lie was better than the silence. It started with a slipper. A tiny pink one, the kind toddlers wear, wedged under the couch. I bent down to pick it up while Mia was in the shower and held it in my hand for a long time. I remember whispering, "What the hell is this?" to no one. When she came out, towel around her hair, I held it up. "This yours?" She laughed. "No, baby, it's my cousin's daughter. She visit last week." "You never mentioned a visit." She shrugged, kissed my cheek. "Short visit. Just one night. I clean, but maybe I miss." I wanted to believe her, I really did. But something in her smile looked too ready, like the answer had been practiced. That night, I noticed a small plastic bag behind the rice cooker. Inside were snack pouches, tiny ones with cartoon animals. I held one up. "You eating these now?" She peeked over from the couch. "She leave it. I keep in case she come back." "So your cousin's kid comes here often?" "Not often. Just sometimes." "Why?" I didn't answer. I just nodded. My stomach felt tight. "You don't believe me?" she asked. "I didn't say that." "But you think I lie?" I think you tell me what you want me to hear." Her eyes watered fast. "Why you say this? I trust you. I never hide." I felt like I kicked a puppy. "Forget it," I said. "I'm just tired." "I love you," she whispered. "Why?" "You hurt me." I wrapped my arms around her, even though my gut told me to stay quiet. That's what Mia did best. She made me feel like the villain every time I got close to the truth. The next morning, I opened the bathroom cabinet looking for shaving cream. Behind the towels was a bottle of baby powder and a pack of unopened wipes. My hands froze. I stared at them for a solid minute. She came in and wrapped her arms around my waist. "You use my razor again?" she asked. "No, I was just looking." I stepped aside, waited for her to notice the powder. She didn't, or pretended not to. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah," I lied. That night we were watching some Thai game show when her phone rang. She glanced at the screen and instantly got up. "I take this outside," she said. I waited 10 seconds, then followed her. The balcony door was open, just a crack. "No, not now," she was saying. "He's here." I stepped out. She spun fast and hung up. "Everything okay?" I asked. "My aunt," she said quickly. "She feels sick again." "Which aunt?" "You never meet. She live far." "And she called you at midnight?" She fall, hurt leg, she's scared. Do you need to go? Maybe, but not now. I stay with you. I nodded, but everything inside me screamed. You don't have to stay if it's urgent. No, she said, wrapping her arms around me. You more important. Her head rested on my chest. I wanted to pull away, I didn't. I let her hold me, and I hated how much I needed it. A few days later, I found a small pacifier in the laundry basket. It didn't belong to anyone I knew. I stared at it for too long. When she came home, I held it up. You hiding more cousins? She went still. Oh, that old one, from long time ago. Why is it in the laundry? I don't know. Maybe get mixed with clothes. You think I lie again? I think I'm confused. You want me gone, she snapped. You think I bad woman? I think I don't know what to think. She started crying. Not loud, not messy, just soft tears that made me feel small. I try. I really try, she whispered. But you always think I play game. Then tell me the truth. I already tell you, but you don't hear. She walked to the kitchen, pulled out 2 beers, handed me one. Let's not fight, please. I nodded, took the beer, swallowed the questions. That night she curled up beside me like nothing happened. She kissed my neck and said, I love you more when you quiet. I smiled, but my mind raced. The lies weren't loud. They were soft, wrapped in kisses and cold love. And I was too far in to walk away. It started around 11:40. I remember because I'd just turned off the fan and the room went silent. Too silent. That's when I heard it. A faint cry, distant at first. I sat up, listened harder. The building was quiet except for that sound. I stood, opened the door, and stepped into the hallway barefoot. Nothing. No lights on, no doors open, just that soft, uneven wail cutting through the stillness. I followed it past Mia's laundry rack, toward the neighbor's unit, but the closer I got, the quieter it became. Then I turned back, and it got louder. My throat tightened. I stepped back into our condo, closed the door, and stood there holding my breath. The cry hadn't stopped. It was inside. Not loud, but sharp, wet, real. I walked down the hallway toward the back room, the one she always kept locked. I leaned in. The cry was clearer now, like it was pressing through a wall. No, I muttered. No way. My hand hovered over the doorknob, even though I knew it was pointless. Locked, always locked. I stared at the base of the door. A thin shadow moved across the light underneath. I whispered, "Hello?" And the crying paused, for just a second. Then it started again, louder this time, angrier. My knees felt weak. I backed away slowly, heart pounding. I didn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of the bed with the TV on, mute, and stared at the hallway, waiting. The crying finally stopped around 2:30. When Mia came back just after dawn, I didn't say anything right away. She slipped off her shoes, looked exhausted, and walked straight into the kitchen. Rough night? I asked, forcing calm. My niece sick, she said, grabbing a bottle of water. I stay with her. My sister not good with crying baby. You brought her here, I asked. No, I go there. You sure? She blinked like she didn't understand. Why? I thought I heard something. A baby. In the hallway. Maybe in here. She stiffened. No one here. Maybe it was just the neighbors. She shrugged. Maybe. I watched her face carefully. No concern, no curiosity, just cold detachment. That room's still locked, I asked. Yes, why you ask? Just wondering. You don't trust me? I'm trying. She rolled her eyes. You always think I hide something. That's because sometimes you do. She walked past me toward the bathroom. I'm tired. No fight now. I wanted to push. I wanted to demand answers, but I just stood there swallowing my fear. Later that morning, I waited until she stepped out to buy breakfast. I walked back to that locked room again and listened. Nothing. Silence. I bent down and looked at the door's edge. There was a small smudge of something sticky, maybe jam, maybe something else, right where the wood met the tile. I touched it and pulled back. It was fresh. That's when I noticed the air vent near the floor had been covered with a taped piece of cloth. I stared at it, heart pounding. My phone buzzed. A message from Mia. "You want chicken, rice, or noodle?" I replied. "Noodle." I stood up, walked back to the kitchen, and tried to breathe. When she came back, she handed me a warm box and kissed my forehead like nothing was wrong. "Eat," she said. "Make you strong." "Thanks," I said, forcing a smile. She sat beside me, watching something on her phone. I glanced over and saw a photo. 2 kids playing in what looked like a park. She quickly locked the screen. "Cute," I said. "Whose are they?" "Old picture," she said. "Friends' children. You seem close. I help them sometimes. Like aunt." "You're very good with kids," I said. She looked up at me, eyes cold. "Why you say that?" "Because I think there's a child in that room." Her expression didn't change. "You crazy?" "No. I heard crying. From inside this condo. Not next door. Not the hallway. In here." "You dream," she said flatly. "You drink too much beer." I was stone cold sober. "You say I lie? I'm saying I want the truth." "You always want something," she snapped. "Money, love, now truth. But when I need trust, you give doubt. Because none of it makes sense anymore." She stood up. "I not talk to you now." She walked into the bedroom and slammed the door. I just sat there. My food got cold. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I wasn't even sure what scared me more, the possibility that there was a baby in that room, or the fact that I might have just accepted it if she kissed me enough. She left in a hurry that morning. Said she was going to the pharmacy but didn't take her purse. Just her phone and a key I'd never seen before. As soon as the door closed, I went to the cabinet by the hallway, the one she always kept locked with that tiny silver latch. I'd tried it before. This time I used a butter knife. Took a few minutes, a few angry mutters, but it popped. I opened it slowly, palms sweaty. The first thing I saw was a small yellow blanket folded neatly on top. Underneath were tiny clothes. Shirts no bigger than my hand. Baby socks, diapers, a tube of cream with the cap missing. I stepped back like the thing had teeth. Then I saw the envelope. I opened it with shaking hands. 2 birth certificates. Both Thai. Both listing the same. Mother. Mia. I kept reading. 1 boy, aged 2. 1 girl, aged 5. Same address, same condo, our condo. My heart started thudding. At the bottom of the cabinet was a photo frame. I pulled it out. Mia, smiling. Really smiling. 1 arm around a little girl with her same eyes, the other around a baby boy holding a red balloon. I couldn't move. I just stood there holding it like it was burning my skin. My phone buzzed. A message from her. "You want soup or pad kra pao?" I didn't respond. I just put everything back and locked the cabinet. Then I sat on the couch and stared at the TV without seeing it. When she came back, she dropped the plastic bag on the counter. "I get both," she said. "You choose." I didn't say a word. "What's wrong?" she asked. I stood up slowly. "Whose kids are they?" Her smile vanished. "What?" "The ones in the picture, the ones on the birth certificates." She froze. "You opened that?" "Yes." "I told you not to open that door." "You didn't tell me anything. You kept it locked. Because it's my business." "Your business?" "Mia, I've been living here, sleeping next to you, paying rent. You told me you were alone." "I am." "You're not." "They're not here now." "But they were." "So what?" she snapped. "You said you wanted me, not my problems." "They're not problems. They're your children." "You think I don't know that?" Her voice cracked. "I do everything for them. Everything. You think it easy?" "No," I said. "I think it's cruel to lie to me." "You think I lie because I enjoy?" "No. I lie because I have to. You men, you say you want real. But when you see it, you run it. I wouldn't have run." "Yes, you would. You didn't even give me the chance. You want to be father to Thai babies? No, you want to feel young, wanted. That's all. I wanted you to trust me." "Trust," she laughed, bitter. Trust is for rich people. I do what I must. For them. So I'm what? Just the wallet? Your comfort, she said, stepping closer. You're soft. You make life easier. And what do I get? Warm food, touch, smile. Better than alone, right? I looked down at my shirt. I couldn't even feel my hands. I thought you loved me. She looked me dead in the eye. I loved what you gave. That close enough? No, I whispered. It's not. She grabbed my shirt from the chair and threw it into the hallway. Then go. You want me to leave? Yes. Her voice was ice. Now. After everything? I don't owe you forever, just time. You had it. You used me. And you let me. I picked up my shirt and wallet. My legs moved on their own. You could have just told me, I said at the door. I might have helped anyway. I didn't want help. I wanted control. I didn't look back. I didn't speak. I just walked out down the hall into the elevator. When the doors closed, I felt my knees buckle, and for the first time in months I realized I was truly, absolutely alone again. The elevator ride felt longer than usual. I pressed the button for her floor, clenched the crumpled envelope in my hand, the one with my passport, bank card, and 2 receipts I needed to file for my visa extension. I told myself this wasn't about her. I wasn't coming back for conversation or closure. I just needed my things, that's all. When I reached the door, I saw it was cracked open, not locked like usual. I knocked softly anyway. No answer. Just quiet humming and the sound of a spoon clinking against a bowl. I pushed it open. Mia, I called out. It's just me. I stepped inside and froze. A little boy ran out from the kitchen barefoot, wearing a blue tank top and clutching a plastic toy car. He stopped when he saw me, blinked, then turned around and shouted, "Mama, hungry." She came out holding a bowl of rice and curry. When she saw me, she didn't flinch. She just handed the bowl to the boy. "Eat slow," she said. The boy took the bowl and sat cross-legged on the floor. Then he looked up at me. "Who's he?" he asked. That one sentence gutted me. I couldn't breathe. "I just came for my passport," I managed. She walked to the coffee table, picked up a brown envelope, and handed it over without a word. "Thank you," I said. She didn't respond. "The—" boy pointed at the fan. "Hot," he said. "Mama, turn on." She walked over and flipped the switch. "You okay?" I asked. "Yes." "You need anything?" "No." I looked at the boy again. He was eating carefully, balancing the bowl in his lap. "He's beautiful," I said. "You take care of him yourself?" "Yes." "And the girl?" "With her father now." I nodded. "So there was never a cousin? Or an aunt?" She didn't look at me. "Why didn't you just tell me?" "Because you would leave. I left anyway." "But later," she said. "Later helped me." I didn't know what to say to that. I wanted to be angry, but I felt nothing. Just a slow, dull ache in the middle of my chest. "Was any of it real?" I asked. "I mean the nights, the mornings, the things you said." "I said what I felt in the moment," she replied. "That doesn't mean lie, it means survive." "You're good at that." "I have to be." The boy looked up again. "Mama, more rice." She took the bowl, nodded, and walked into the kitchen. I stood there staring at the spot where she'd just been. My bag was near the couch. I picked, "Say it up slowly." "Tell him I said goodbye," I said. She didn't respond. I looked down at the little boy. "Good luck, kid," I whispered. He didn't hear me. He was already focused on his toy car, driving it in circles around the edge of the table. I turned to the door. "Take care of yourself, Mia." "I always do," she said. I stepped into the hallway. The door didn't close behind me. She didn't follow. No tears, no apologies. No last-minute reach for my hand. Maybe she never planned to stop me. Maybe she never needed to. The elevator opened. I walked in and didn't look back. I didn't feel betrayed. Not anymore. I felt misplaced. Like I'd walked into someone else's movie and stayed too long. Whatever fantasy I had about us was gone now. This wasn't my story. It never was. I sat in the corner of the coffee shop with my laptop open, the screen glaring back at me like it knew what I was about to see. I logged into my bank account, typed in the two-step code and held my breath. The numbers popped up. My stomach dropped. The balance was lower than it should have been, far lower. I clicked into the transaction history. The list scrolled longer than I expected. ATM withdrawals, dozens of them, different machines, different neighborhoods. Some in Chiang Mai, some way out in Lampang. All small enough to not set off alerts. All done with the second card, the one I gave her just in case. The one she smiled about and said, "Only if I need milk or taxi." I scrolled. $180 here, $300 there. Then $500, $480, $620. Every week. Sometimes 3 times a week. I clicked export and stared at the spreadsheet. In 3 months, she pulled $18,740. I sat frozen. My coffee went cold. I remembered the first time she asked, "Baby, I lose my phone. Can I borrow a little until next week?" I nodded. Of course. Then it was. "My uncle's sick, we go to hospital." Then, "You want me to take care of kids?" "I need taxi money." She never said the word help. She always made it sound like shared responsibility, like I was doing the decent thing. I told myself it was fine, that I was generous, that I had enough. But now all I saw were numbers and lies. I walked out of the cafe and sat on a bench near the river. I stared at the water and felt my chest burn. I pulled out my phone and called her. It rang twice, then went to voicemail. I tried again, nothing. I sent a message. "Can we talk?" "Read." No reply. I sent another. "Did you take the money for the kids or for yourself?" No read. I waited. An hour passed, nothing. I called again, disconnected. I pulled out the ATM receipt I grabbed earlier, the last one from the day before, $600 withdrawn from a convenience store downtown. She hadn't even tried to hide it. I remember asking her last week if she needed anything. She kissed my cheek and said, "No, baby, I have everything now." That kiss cost me almost $1,000. I didn't even flinch then. I feel like a fool now, not because of the money, because I thought she cared. I opened my notebook, the one I kept tucked in my backpack, and started writing down the dates. Withdrawal. Withdrawal, withdrawal. I tried to match them to memories. July 4th, she said the blender broke. July 15th, she said she needed medicine. August 2nd, she said the landlord needed cash, but the rent was paid from my account directly. I never saw a bill, never asked for one. I thought asking would feel rude, like I didn't trust her. Now I realize I never should have trusted someone who made me feel bad for asking questions. I remember her holding my hand, smiling, saying, "You good man. Other men not like you." Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were smarter. I tried calling one last time, straight to voicemail. I texted, "Please just be honest, did you ever love me?" No response. I looked around and saw families walking, kids laughing, tourists posing for pictures. I felt like I was behind glass, invisible. Everything I thought we were building was paid for, and I didn't even know the price until it was too late. I never asked for proof. I just kept giving. I told myself I was generous, kind, but I think I was just afraid to be alone. I wanted to believe in her so badly that I paid to keep the illusion alive. And she let me because I let her. That's the part that makes me sick. Not that she took the money, but that I let her take pieces of me with it. I sat there until the sun dipped behind the temple roofs and my phone finally died. I didn't charge it again that night. I didn't want to. I didn't want to hear her voice even if she called. I didn't want another lie. I didn't want another baby that cost me $100. I just wanted silence. I wanted the part of me that believed in her to finally shut up. Because the truth was, she didn't vanish, I did. I disappeared the moment I stopped asking why. The waiting room was too quiet. Fluorescent lights hummed above me, and the fan behind the desk kept ticking like it was struggling to stay alive. I held my number slip and stared at the counter, watching the digital screen blink between numbers I didn't understand. I looked around. A few Thai families filling out forms, a Chinese student with a backpack too big for his chair, and one man, white, maybe late 50s, arguing softly with a much younger Thai woman in a tight red blouse. His voice was low, but I could hear the shake in it. "You said it was submitted." She folded her arms. "I did. Maybe they lose. Or maybe you never filed it." "You not trust me?" "I'm starting not to." I looked down at my own form. Purpose of inquiry. Verify sponsorship status. I wasn't here to prove anything to Mia. I already knew what she was. I just wanted to see if anything she said had ever been real, if even one thing held up. My number came up. I stood, walked to the counter. The woman behind the glass barely looked at me. "ID." I handed over my passport. "I want to check on a file," I said. "Immigration petition." I was told she was applying through our relationship. Name: Mia Somchai. She typed, clicked, waited. Nothing here. "Can you double-check?" "No record under that name. No visa application linked to you." "She told me she filed with me listed as her partner months ago." "Then maybe she lie," the woman said plainly. "It happens." I didn't say anything, just nodded. She handed me my passport. "You want to open case, talk to immigration police. This desk not for that." "No," I said. "I'm good." I walked back to the benches and sat down again. The man in the corner was rubbing his eyes. His Thai companion was on her phone now, scrolling like nothing happened. I knew that feeling. That exact moment where you realize you're not part of a love story. You're part of a transaction, and the meter's been running the whole time. I wanted to stand up and say something to him, warn him. But what would I say? He already knew. The same way I knew. We just didn't want to face it until someone behind glass confirmed it with a single line. No record. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the little gold bracelet Mia gave me the week after we met. "Are you mine now?" she said when she tied it around my wrist. "No escape." I laughed at the time, thought it was cute. She knew exactly how to make it feel like love. But now it felt like a joke. A worn-out trick that worked because I wanted it to. I placed the bracelet on the armrest beside me and leaned back. My mind kept replaying her voice. "Baby, we go America together, okay? Maybe next year. I learn to cook your food." There was never a plan. No forms, no passport photos, just stories to keep me paying rent and filling the fridge. A man nearby laughed at a video on his phone. It echoed too loud in the room. I felt hollow, not angry, just emptied out. Like every part of me that used to hope was now stretched too thin to feel. The security guard walked past and glanced down at the bracelet. "Forgot something?" he asked. I shook my head. "No, I'm done with that." He kept walking. I stared at the floor tiles, traced the edges with my eyes, and tried to remember what it felt like to trust someone fully. I couldn't, not anymore. Maybe that's the price. Not the money, not the time. But the part of yourself you lose in trying to believe someone who smiles too easily. I thought about writing her one last message. But what could I say that I hadn't already screamed inside my head 100 times? She didn't need closure. She needed distance, and so did I. The couple by the door stood up. The man walked ahead. She didn't follow, just stayed seated, typing something into her phone. Maybe she was already lining up the next relationship. I stood too, grabbed my bag and walked out. The sun outside was bright but not warm. Everything felt sharp, like I was seeing clearly for the first time in months. I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel sorry for myself. I just felt finished. She became a symbol the moment I heard no record. Not a woman, not a lover, just a mirror of what I'd let happen. And now that mirror was broken. The room I rent now is small. No decorations, no view, just a bed, a table, and a fan that squeaks when it turns. But it's mine. I pay for it with cash in an envelope once a month. The landlady nods, says nothing, hands me the receipt, and I go back upstairs. No one asks who I'm with. No one asks why I'm here. And I like that. I wake up early most mornings now. Around 6. I boil water for instant coffee and sit on the little stool by the window, watching the alley below. There's a dog that limps past at the same time every day. He doesn't look lost, just old like me. I started volunteering at the shelter down the road. Nothing fancy, just washing bowls, hosing out kennels, sometimes walking the dogs that don't bite. One of the workers there calls me uncle. I don't correct her. She smiles like she means it. It's been almost 2 months since I last saw Mia. She never called, never messaged, never blocked me either, which somehow makes it worse. Like I just disappeared from her story, not worth a clean break or a cruel word, just silence. And maybe that's exactly what I needed. I still think about her. Not like before, though, not with longing. More like someone remembering a movie that ended badly. You liked the beginning, hated the ending, but you still watched the whole thing. I keep a notebook now. Not for work or plans, just thoughts. I write down whatever's floating in my head. Sometimes it's about her. Sometimes it's about my daughter back in Ohio. I send her money again. Not a lot, but enough. We don't talk much, just short emails. She says she's doing okay. She asks if I'm healthy. I tell her yes, that part's true. Healthier than I've been in years, actually. No more meds I don't need. No more lying awake hoping someone texts back. No more pretending I'm 20 years younger because someone calls me baby. I'm not angry anymore. That surprised me. I thought the rage would last, that I'd want revenge or justice or answers. But all I wanted was peace, and now I have it, even if it came wearing tattered clothes. One of the dogs at the shelter likes to sit beside me when I smoke. He leans his head on my knee, doesn't beg, just sits there like he understands something. I told him once, she had a life, I had a lesson. He blinked, and I swear he nodded. I don't know who Mia is with now. Maybe no one. Maybe someone richer, younger, more useful. Maybe she's back with her children, or maybe they weren't hers at all. Doesn't matter. I don't need to know. What matters is that I stopped needing her to be anything at all. I used to play back her words in my head, try to figure out when the switch happened, when affection turned into manipulation. But now I think the switch was always there. I just didn't see it. Or maybe I didn't want to. I remember asking her once, "What do you want most in life?" And she smiled and said, "To feel safe." At the time I thought it was about us. Now I know she meant survival. I was a part of that, her version of safety. And when I stopped being useful, she stopped being present. It wasn't love, it was function. But it took me falling apart to see that. I still wear the bracelet she gave me. Not because I miss her, but because it reminds me that I can't afford to lie to myself again. I'm not a young man chasing fairy tales. I'm an old one who forgot that real love doesn't need to be bought. And maybe next time, if there is a next time, I'll remember that. I like the quiet now, the stillness. I used to think I needed adventure, or romance, or redemption. But I just needed truth, even when it hurt. Especially when it hurt. There's freedom in being done, not in hating someone, just in finally letting go of the version of them you built in your head. She didn't betray me. She revealed herself, and I learned. That's enough. That's more than enough.